So who do we have in the car with us there, Marvin? Why don't you introduce ourselves?
We have myself, Marvin Bowser, WAPA, Washington Area Press.
Automotive Press Association.
Washington Automotive Press Association, of which I am a member. Bill Hopper, our president. And in the back seat we have
Jacob Brown, Product Communications at Mazda North America in sunny, well, not sunny, Irvine, California, because it was cloudy yesterday.
Well, it's sunny here today,
it's
so that's
way
a good thing.
sunnier and warmer in DC here than it was over there.
And what are we riding in?
The 2018 Mazda 6 Signature, which is the top of the line model, and it has a whole bunch of new features. The chassis has been completely redone, has a new engine in it. The interior is completely done. Yeah, it has a little bit of get up and go.
Well, it's got a little bit more than just a little bit.
That's a little bit more.
We have the most torque in the class, so 310 pound-feet from 2,000 RPM.
So this car, is this car all new for 2018 or 2019?
Well, the one you're riding in right now, or driving, is a 2018.
Okay.
So we do model years a little funny because, frankly, Mazda doesn't believe in model years. So when the car comes out, and then we assign a model year to it, which is probably why a lot of people kind of wonder that question. And then it's not all new, but I would say that it is more revised than anybody usually refreshes a car. So the whole interior
within the same model year.
Yeah, the whole interior is completely different. The whole underneath the car is different. The engine is different. The only thing that's really the same is the sheet metal on the car.
Because I was going to say, well, that's one of the things that when I was researching this vehicle, outside looks to what's already on the market, but I was hearing all this new exciting things that were going on with this vehicle, and what you were showing me was the wood in here, the dashboard. I already mentioned that I love the heads-up display without the little plastic, what did you call it?
Combiner lens.
The combiner lens. Well, I like it without the combiner lens. It's a much smoother look and feel. So
and you would think, oh hey, it's a refresh, they would just reupholster the seats. Actually, all the seats, the seats you two are sitting in and the seats I'm sitting in have been completely re-engineered. The tires they even picked a new tire because they wanted a quieter, smoother car. But really this emphasis on this kind of Mazda premium feel where it's competitive with the other mid-size sedans in the segment in terms of price, but in terms of content, the way how it's put together, build quality, fit and finish and design, we really do believe that we have a class above product.
So let's talk about price. What is the price that, well, see, there's a Maroni right here.
Yeah.
Does it have it? No, it doesn't have a Maroni.
Okay. Yeah.
We're back. We're back.
It'll come back. We're out in the wilds of Virginia, folks, so, it's stuff. Okay, so
we're talking about price.
Yeah,
so the base, if I wanted to buy a Mazda 6 today, I could walk in at, what were you saying?
About 22 with a stick. With
22 with a stick, which you have a manual transmission, which is a lot of young people are looking for that manual transmission.
Which is hard to find in the market these days.
Yes.
So, and then the car that you're in right now, because of the turbo engine, the Napa leather, the real wood on the dashboard.
Signature trim level,
completely loaded, can't get any more loaded. It's about $35,000.
Wow.
So 35 grand is nothing in today's market.
No, the average transaction price on a new car is $34,000, and frankly, we're offering a car that's not much more than that, but offers an experience. You tell me how
very nice, and you don't get a feel of this what is it, the steer with torque steer on the it just straight ahead. It almost felt like a rear-wheel drive vehicle.
So yeah, the engineers completely redid the suspension geometry. Like, when I say everything underneath the sheet metal is new, everything underneath the sheet metal is new, where it's been redone. And that was to mitigate any kind of torque sphere because 310 pound-feet of torque. So really, we believe that we're offering an experience that is a lot more than the price you're going to pay for it. And we call that Mazda Premium kind of internally, but it really is this premium experience at a mainstream price. And internally, we were definitely benchmarking. As much as we were looking at mainstream automakers, we were also bringing out Audi A4s and various luxury brands for kind of cross comparison, and we believe this car compares favorably.
Now, talk about Mazda corporate. At one point in time, Mazda was what, when I owned Mazdas back in the 70s, they had rotary engines, and then it wasn't there a point in time where Ford had an ownership in it, and now who is Mazda? Who is Mazda as a company today? It's not a big company, I don't think.
No. So as an automaker, Mazda is run wholly independently out of Hiroshima, Japan. We have there's a small stake that Toyota has in the company, and likewise we have a smaller stake, but a small stake in Toyota. Each company bought into each other as a sign of trust in their relationship moving forward. Everything in this car is Mazda engineered, Mazda designed, Mazda
So you were
built.
saying that noise is not a Mazda noise.
No, that was somebody trying to call me.
So I think that's what he was like, oh my God, there's a noise in this car that they didn't tell me about. So
Well, thankfully I was like, wait, is somebody saying something on the live feed? But yeah, everything in this car is completely built in-house. Mazda's not a big automaker. We produce about 1.6 million cars a year, which, but due to synergies in how the cars are built, we can really offer this sort of experience in the build quality and the craftsmanship. Kind of a small batch car at a mainstream price, and we say that, a lot with the Miata too, just because it's a $30,000 car that offers, when are you going to get into a sports car at $30,000? It offers what the Miata offers. We kind of have a similar experience to that in every vehicle we have at every price point, and it's nice. It's nice to be able to promote product like that and to support it as a PR person, because I do this completely out of love and sincerity, because it's so easy to do.
So Jacob, and you're the Jacob Brown on Instagram and
Yes.
elsewhere. Drive route is that this road is just classic.
And we're back.
This road is very classic. We're on the George Washington Parkway heading towards Mount Vernon, and this road is bumpy, but this car rides very well. It's very smooth on it. We've hit a couple of. We're gonna hit a bump here right now, and it just kind of. It doesn't float over it, but it still has a sports
with the driver in a very natural way. And what that does with the suspension travel is you can still have a sporty ride and sporty feel, but the car has a very natural kind of shape to how it damps bumps and how the car transitions over them, so you don't feel car sick.
Now, is there a sport mode,
No,
or is
we believe in one suspension mode. It's called Good.
How about that?
Just like steering mode, a lot of automakers are doing I want heavy or light or somewhere in between. So you have 3 stages of mediocre.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We have one.
There is no. Are you saying there is no mediocre with Mazda?
We don't do mediocre.
Good.
Yeah.
I had a Mazda CX-9 a week ago. Spent a weekend in it, and got it on a back country road, and was amazed by how well that car handled.
Yeah.
Like no top heaviness, no body roll to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fun to drive in a fun way, and you felt completely safe. So so that theory, that philosophy translates across the line.
Yeah, and it really is. The cars aren't tuned in an independent bubble of each other. They're all tuned with the same philosophy of you can have suspension travel, you can have wheel travel, you can go over bumps. You tune the car for the real road. You don't tune it for a racetrack necessarily, but you still have a mission in mind to promote a driver-friendly car, a driver-centric car. So it's really a very, very different take. A lot of automakers build cars that they have to pull 0.9 G on a skid pad. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We have more of human-centric metrics on how does this car make you feel? What does this car do? What you expect to do when you turn the steering wheel? And it's a very, very different philosophy on how to tune a car.
Right.
And that's really part of what makes Mazda so unique.
And including an ability to make your car payment every month, it's also a good idea, right?
Yeah. Well, there aren't a whole lot of automakers that really kind of you either pick a car that does that, or you pick a little bit higher car payment. And I know that our engineers used to at one point benchmark.
Yeah, we're talking about a high car payment, and I'm feeling, well, I feel like I've got a high car payment, but I don't, because this is a really nicely appointed car.
Yeah. A lot of, back in the, I'd say late 90s, early 2000s, and even into the mid 2000s, BMW had a very, very different philosophy on how they were doing suspension tuning. And it was very natural and intuitive and a lot like this. And as they've had to raise their limits because spec sheets become more and more important when you're selling a $90,000 M3, they've kind of gotten away from that way of tuning a car to be intuitive and natural at normal speeds, so they could take advantage of, 180 miles an hour and 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. And Mazda, because we are in a very unique place in the market, we can take advantage of still making these cars that drive so intuitively and naturally. And most often